Today we find ourselves in Dundas, a charming town in Hamilton. I love visiting the local shops and cafes when I'm here. Hamilton still maintains a lot of its original architecture and gives it a really charming vibe. So I'm about to go into one of many bookstores. Maybe it's because Hamilton is like a university town, but there are a lot of really cool independent bookstores here. So I'm gonna be looking around a few today. I don't plan on buying any books, but I think it'd be fun to just look around, and if there are any that I had like on my TBR, I might pick some up. I guess they opened when a lot of the streets were still empty. We just left King W Books. Yeah, King W Books, and beside it there's also a art supply store, and they sell like stationery and stuff too, and they had traveler's notebook, and I think the next time we visit I'll buy things from there. I know that shops in Toronto have it as well, but I think that the Toronto stores get a lot of traffic, so I'd rather come here and support them and buy things when I can from here. But yeah, and then speaking of other local shops, so at the chocolate store we bought some chocolate too, and the owner of the shop was so kind, and she was explaining like the different chocolates and how it's made, and like the beans and the cocoa, and it was so cool. She had like examples of the actual beans there and the pods. But yeah, it was really cool. Oh, I love that tile. It's now the next day, so it's Sunday and it's about noon. I just spent the morning just relaxing at home and doing a few chores. And it's really nice and sunny out, and it's the first sunny day in a while that I'm home. So I really want to just be like a cat and enjoy the sunshine. So I'm gonna journal and sketch a bit and enjoy some tea and a little snack. This is the book I picked up yesterday. I wasn't planning on buying anything, but I thought this book was really intriguing. The Book of the Tree, Trees and Art. I bought it at King W Books. So this was the store that had a combination of art and stationery supplies. And the owner was so kind and friendly. I really want to go back there and support their business whenever I'm back. But yeah, what this book is, it's like a study or look at different trees by different artists. When I was studying interior design, we had an art history course, and I regret not paying attention because looking back on it, I do think it was interesting, but maybe it's just that rebellious feeling as a student where you think everything is boring. But now I think it's so interesting, and I wish I kept some of my textbooks and stuff. And lately I've been more interested in getting to understand art history again.
Às vezes é da dor que vem o amor. Eu que pensava que era engano. Olho seus olhos de luz e vejo anjo. Esqueci dos tropeços, esqueci das caídas. Perdidas, vou encontrar meu lar. Foi do seu sorriso que encontrei a paz. Alguém que preciso pra não olhar mais pra trás. Foi do seu sorriso encontrei a paz. Alguém que preciso pra não olhar mais pra trás.
So this is my progress for today. I just clipped out some of the papers from the coffee shop, and these are just some old stickers and stuff that I had. I just wanted to use them. And then this is the cafe that we went to with the photo printed. I was thinking it would be fun to like illustrate a map kind of thing of the day that I had, but then it also felt a little too ambitious for me. So for today, I just drew the storefront, and I think it turned out really cute. And then for the coffee shop, or sorry, the chocolate shop, the owners were really nice, and it was such a cute experience there, and she gave us some samples as well. And she also had these like cocoa beans that were there. Anyway, so I cut out the bag and I used it to draw the storefront, and I think it turned out quite nicely. Those are the photos from the outside, and that's on the inside. And that's as far as I got. I ended up printing out the other shops that I went to, but it's getting a little late now and I still have to do my meal prep for today. So I'm gonna take a break, and if I have time later, then I might continue. Or it could be just a fun little project to do throughout the week after work and stuff. Sometimes just sketching is really nice and like a meditative treat. Hello. It's a few days past now, and before I end off the video, I just wanted to share some reading updates. So I was in the middle of reading Villette by Charlotte Bronte. I got about a quarter of the way through, but I'm gonna take a break from it. I just wasn't able to fully engage in it as much as I would have liked. So I really want to give it my all when I'm reading it, but I think I'm just in a bit of a reading slump right now. I'm finding just trouble focusing on the books that I'm reading. I took a swivel and I started reading Creep by Emma van Straaten, and I finished it. It was a pretty quick read, but I did not enjoy this one. I appreciated the themes that it had going on, but I felt like the storytelling and the writing felt more like a rough draft, and it just wasn't for me. So if you're not familiar with this one, it's a story about a woman named Alice, and she's a little unhinged. She becomes obsessed with this guy named Tom, and it's someone she's never met before, but she feels like she knows him because for the past year, she's been cleaning his apartment. She struggles with mental health, a lot of internalized racism, self-loathing, and loneliness, which I think are really interesting themes to explore. But again, I just felt like the way the writer went about it, I don't know. I felt like a lot of the times the writing was just being kind of gross and strange for the sake of shock value. There was a lot of real questions and reflections to be had, like I said, on internalized racism, class, pretty privilege, the long-term effects of trauma in your childhood. But I feel like when these topics came up, there were some good excerpts that I liked, which I tagged, but nothing was really said beyond like a superficial layer. The pacing also felt a little off for me. The first 60% of the book felt really slow and lingered on the obsession too much. At the last 25% of the book, you sort of get more on her history and her past trauma and things like that. But it all feels really rushed, and the end just feels really sudden as well. And basically at the ending, she's like, damn, these cops are touching me and turning me on. Is this all it took? The end. At least that's how it felt for me. Her past was introduced really late, which is fine, but it almost implied that maybe she ended up this way because of the betrayal from her sister and the unintentional pain from her mother, but she never takes any responsibility for her own actions. And her behavior in the first half of the book, and even in the past, shows how she is quite selfish and perhaps was suffering from mental health way early on and had this toxic understanding of love and desire. The incident with her sister, and her classmate asks if it was her and she says, no, it was my sister. But I think that action alone is reflective of Alice's selfish character. Also in the beginning, when she starts going to the senior home, the Rose Acre, I think, the way she talks about them is really belittling and patronizing and rude. And throughout the book, how she just uses them and their disability and their frailty is also really telling of Alice's character. So again, coming back to the themes of like loneliness and feeling ostracized and all these different things, which I think are really valid, I just found it hard to empathize with the character. I almost stopped reading it, but I didn't want to stop another book after I had stopped Valette, so I just kept powering through on this one. So yeah, did not enjoy, do not recommend. I am interested in like a similar type of story, and I'm sure there are quite a few out there. Yeah, if you have recommendations, I would be interested to reading those. And currently I am reading 1984 by George Orwell. Just trying to come out of my reading slump. I only am 20 pages in, but I'm hoping maybe if I read like a classic, it'll kind of, I know that it's going to be good. So, but yes, I hope everyone's having a good week. I hope you're not in a reading slump like I am. I'll see you in my next video, which will be the beginning of my travel vlogs. And yeah, see you soon.